Welcome to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller, the podcast. I'm joined by Seth.
Hey, welcome, guys. Thanks for finding us on the internet.
Now, these shows originally aired on Brookings Radio, but now they're all here for your enjoyment. I hope you like it.
There you go. Sit back, enjoy the show, relax. Let us know if you want to see anything on future shows. As we said, this comes out live in the Brookings area, but enjoy this archive episode.
Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Welcome to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. This week, a look at South Dakota craft beer from the outside, sort of. Stephen Krieger is one of three co-owners of Wooden Legs Brewing in Brookings. The career Army officer just finished a stint teaching politics and critical thought at West Point. He was born and raised in South Dakota and was a classmate of co-owner Seth Cook. Steve usually gets back to South Dakota a couple of times a year and likes to see how the beer scene here is evolving.
Always improving. It's kind of like being an uncle. I get to come back and see snapshots of the South Dakota brew scene about once every 6 months, sometimes once every 12 months is all. And the rate at which it's grown, not only in the amount of options that we can get, but also in the appreciation, in the craft brew scene, in the drinking for taste as opposed to drinking for drunk, which is kind of the whole reason we wanted to start our pub in the first place. I think it's amazing.
He says what South Dakota may still be lacking is those highly specialized brewers.
Yeah, the big differences that I've seen, when you get to I lived on the East Coast mainly. Obviously, there's a lot more options, and there's a lot more big options. And when I say big options, I mean really well-built-up breweries who can do off-the-wall brews, and there's a big enough population that they can always sell it off. They can be extremely risky and do outlandish brews, because even if it's only going to serve the 5% that want to drink it, there's enough people to fill that niche and they'll take it.
He says the ability to take a risk also means there's a lot more breweries following trends and fads.
I can tell you right now, there's going to be a big Saison movement that's going to hit us probably another 4 or 5 months, because that's what's been the flavor of the season over there. And again, they can go through fads because there's a big enough population to sell it off. We'd always talk about West Coast breweries have that real in-your-face hops, more experimental on the East Coast. I think the middle of the country still has what we've always had, which is balance, because we don't have the population centers, and we have to put forward a quality beer that's always going to drink like a beer and can hit that 70% of the population is going to say it's a bit experimental, it's a bit bold, but it's still a quality beer. I think it's a benefit as well as a little bit of a hindrance, because maybe we can't be as risky without taking actual financial risk. But at the same token, I think it forces us to stay true to the beers themselves.
More with Steve Krieger when Beer Untapped continues right after this.
Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man.
Welcome back to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. We're talking with Wooden Legs Brewing co-owner Steve Krieger. He's kind of the unseen owner, currently living on the East Coast, teaching at West Point. Steve says one of the biggest changes he's seen in South Dakota, there are now enough breweries that people have to make good beer in order to make it.
The best thing about the craft beer market in South Dakota is we finally got to that point where the rest of the country did, where we are able to have breweries come up and maybe go away because they weren't putting forward the absolute best quality. And as a result, I think those of us who are still brewing beers are putting out absolute top quality. I'll try to be as objective as possible. I think everything Wooden Legs puts out is above average, and I think there's some that we absolutely nail home runs on, and that's because we know what our water profile is and everything else. I got to try 353 on Nitro for the first time since I was back. It was amazing. The wild hair, true to form. Collectively, South Dakota is absolutely on par with the rest of the country. Our best can compete against the best, and the ones who are staying open are 3 out of 5 at their worst. Quite frankly, the South Dakota pubs that are still brewing are not putting out stuff that's below quality.
One of the big goals from the start with Wooden Legs was to bring pub culture to the state.
I think we've absolutely nailed it. When we started doing the bar initially, the pub, Seth wanted to brew beer, and I wanted to bring pub culture to South Dakota, because I had the benefit of living in Cambridge, England for 2 years, and I saw what drinking responsibly can be. The idea of pub culture where you walk in, have a beer with someone, have a conversation, and walk out, as opposed to stumbling out 4 hours later, is what I fell in love with. Just to watch that kind of real integration of what is good about socializing and leaving behind, the worst aspects of bar culture.
And Steve has an announcement for us on something new coming from Wooden Legs.
We have just put the purchase in to get the equipment necessary to start filling our 750 milliliter or 22 and a half ounce bombers with our bigger beers. So the Pogonophilia and the St. Isidore. We've got the labels on design with a local lady who helps us with all that, Carrie Cool. And once we get those up and running, we'll be able to sell our bigger beers in the 22-ounce bombers right out of the door.
They'll be hand-bottled, hand-numbered, so it'll be some really cool stuff. And this won't be for a massive volume of our collection, but we do have a number of people that have told us that they would like them as gifts or be able to do bottle shares with them, or in some cases they'd like them to put them in their cellar for to do a vertical with in the future.
Those should be coming very soon. That was Seth Cook adding some info, and he also has the word on some upcoming events at the pub, including a special edition of Trivia Tuesday.
We always do trivia nights, obviously, on Tuesday, but on August 1st, we're doing a special edition trivia night where it's a back-to-school edition. I have a guest host, and some of the proceeds from that night are going to go to a couple of the local school supply projects in Brookings here. So follow us on Facebook on that, but that is August 1st, which is the Tuesday, and come prepared for some reading, writing, and arithmetic questions.
And Saturday is Crazy Days in Brookings. They'll be doing root beer floats and have some other specials as well. Be sure to check it out. Finally today, let's head to Brookings Liquor Store, find out what's new from our beer guide, Drew Eklund.
New on tap from Hydra out of Sioux Falls, Morningstar Raspberry Berliner Weiss, 18 cents an ounce. This is an awesome beer, I think. Nice, easy drinking, low ABV with a refreshing raspberry tartness, authentic flavor. I'll be filling my growler up with this one at least a couple times. It's just really, really good flavor. The next one, new on tap from Breckenridge, it's 72 Imperial Chocolate Cream Stout. 16 cents an ounce. 72 is smooth and sweet with flavors of milk chocolate and vanilla. This would make an excellent dessert beer. It's very sweet, but nice flavor to it. Grainbelt Blue is still on tap, but we're going through it really quickly. So if you want some, you'd better act now because we'll be running out soon, and then you'll have to wait until next summer.
New packaged beer at Brookings Liquor Store includes Inherent Vice from Surly, Avery Real Peel IPA, and Alt Nouveau from North Coast, an excellent take on the alt beer style. That's it for this week's show. Until next time, drink local and drink responsibly. Thank you for listening to this archived edition of Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Feel free to listen to other episodes, and if there's anything you'd like us to talk about on a future show, please let us know. Thanks again.